planted non-GMO corn that was naked seed.
We got the roller crimper hooked up, and
oh boy, we got corn plants in between my legs. A really nice good one right there. Gibbsfield Farms here, and we are standing today in our non-GMO corn. This is only my second year of ever doing this. This is non-GMO corn, and we got this regenerative verified through the soil regen program. So I will talk about that in just a second here. This corn, first time ever I've done it, planted non-GMO corn that was naked seed. Last year I planted non-GMO corn, but it had a seed treatment on it. This was naked seed. So we opened up that bag of seed corn, it looked like corn. There was nothing on it. So it was new to us. We tried it on this part of our farm, 40 acres, had it tested, it got regenerative verified. So what we have is non-GMO corn, it's regenerative verified. It is not organic. I do use some herbicides on my farming operation in certain rotations and different crops. So we are not organic certified. Eventually, someday I would like to maybe get to that point. So we are stair-stepping our way there. I'm really impressed with this because we do regenerative farming practices on our farm, and everybody has a different opinion on what that is. So we utilize no-till, cover crops, and crop rotation on our farm, and then we have been working on cutting back on our herbicide usage. We do not use insecticides anymore. We do not use fungicides anymore. We just try to farm as much as we can with nature. So I'm going to start at the beginning of the season before we even talk about the corn. This field was cover crop, literally over knee high. It was about as high as the ears, 3 foot tall. It was hard red winter wheat, Blonza clover, hairy vetch, Australian winter peas. I've had a few oats in there, and I think maybe some winter camelina. Planted it last fall after we put down hog manure on this field. So we came in with a minimal till bar that basically cuts the ground and it shoots the hog manure into the ground, and then it folds it over. So it doesn't hardly even leave a footprint. We seeded our cover crop, planted in here. By spring, it all came up a little bit. By spring, this field is green. So we did not till it. We planted the corn right into it. We did put down some calcium this spring. I used gypsum, calcium and sulfur. And then when we planted the corn, we put down a little bit of nitrogen, thiazole, which is sulfur, zinc, boron, and humic acid, molasses. We dribble it right next to the row. So you can picture something dribbling on both sides of the corn being planted on top of the ground right next to it. We put it, I call it 2 by 2 by 0 because it's 2 inches, about 2 inches beside the corn, 2 inches above, 0 in the ground, whatever you want to call it, 2 by 2, 2 by 2 by 2, 0, right next to the row. In furrow, we run our vermicast extract, our compost extract that we make with the worms. And it's a biological, it's seed safe, it will not burn the seed. We put some of that in furrow. I do like to run a little bit of fish. And then my insecticide program was chitin that I use. It's my first year really using it. I was really happy with it. This corn, we also put some yucca in furrow with it as well. So the yucca is a plant that grows in a dry area, and it has properties of drought resistance and drought resiliency. So we did put some of that in furrow too. I'm really impressed with this corn. 10.9 inches of rain so far. We're past pollination. It's growing well. Back to this spring, that cover crop was growing. We came in and terminated it with the sprayer, and then we roller crimped it flat with this big roller and just laid it flat. That way, when the corn gets planted and comes out of the ground, it's not competing for sunlight versus all of the dead cover crop. It's already laid flat. Kind of like putting grass down in your garden or straw in between where you plant stuff. We got that mat to protect the soil, first of all. Keep the soil from getting hot. Also helps to keep the water in from evaporating. And weed control. That's half of our weed control right there, is just getting that mat down. So I'm gonna come back right here. Here's what's left for residue. So our worms have come up and they have ate that stuff. Our biology has broken it down, and you can kind of see there's a big old wormhole right there. I bet if I move this away a little bit, you'll see some more. These little pieces you find right there, whoops, I'll grab another one while I'm down on my hands and knees here. That right there is worm poop. That is worm poop. So yeah, you see this, oh, there's a really nice good one right there. It's like cottage cheese. If you ever eat cottage cheese, only it's brown. So that is worm poop right there. Pretty neat. But yeah, you can move spots away and you'll see big wormholes going in the ground. So when you get them 4-6 inch rains, that water's going down. And that's what we want to see. We got really good stalk strength here. I mean, these are some solid plants for being non-GMO and no seed treatment or nothing. I'm pretty excited for it. But yeah, the residue is all broke down, which is what we want. You know, that's recycling into nutrients for our plants. Between the livestock manure, we use hardly any commercial fertilizer on it. Really happy with it. So yeah, that's how we grow it. We have spots in the field that are a little bit more weedier, and we will get to that here in just a second. We are inside, I want to say about 24 rows, because our straight rows are literally right here. So we are kind of within the field. Very impressed with this corn so far. For the lack of rain that we've had, just really nice ears on it. They're holding on really good. They're not dropping. They're just starting to dent a little bit. But man, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful ears. And I'm not being picky on picking certain ones. This one here is probably a little bit smaller. Big ear, big ear, big ear. Come over to this side. This one was trying to put on 3. Big ear, big ear, big ears. That's what I like to see. 32,000 is what we planted that at. My original goal going into this season was 300 bushel corn. I wanted to grow 300 bushel non-GMO corn to say I did it. We didn't get the rainfall, and it just didn't happen. But this corn has not seen any fungicide. Typically, they're flying on fungicide with the planes, or helicopters are coming in with high boys and spraying it on to help with disease. We did not put any of that on. This is, let's see, no insecticide. We have not put any of that on. Disease pressure is very minimal at best. I think the dry weather has played a lot with that. But overall, I'm really excited to harvest this. It looks way better than what I originally anticipated it to look like. But that's how we do our regenerative farming, is what I like to call it. No till or minimum till at best. Cover crops, keeping that soil protected, backing off or not using certain products like fungicides or insecticides. You know, they are a last resort to be able to use. If we have a disease out here, I need to be looking at why do we have that disease instead of trying to treat it. Why do we have it in the first place? Is it a copper deficiency? Is it a zinc? Is it a manganese? Why is that plant not healthy enough and it's sick with a disease? Because there's something that it's tied to. So we've tried to get into more micronutrients. I really like the worm extract in furrow. Putting that in on the seed, it doesn't burn the seed. It helps to get our biology functioning. And so yeah, that's how we use it in our farming operation, and the results that we've been seeing so far. This part of the field looks pretty clean, as you can see. There is a few escape weeds here and there. The corn in general looks really good. We can pull ears all day, and they're just really nice looking ears for non-GMO corn. I'm honestly pretty impressed with it. That's another nice club. Go play some baseball with your kids. So nice looking ears. We're gonna come over here, and honest to God, the areas that we have that are high weed pressure, I have seen last year and this year where we've got a lot of weeds coming in our non-GMO corn, and this is mostly on the outside rounds. The corn looks just as good, if not better, where we have weed pressure. And I kind of noticed, seems like we got a little bit more moisture in the ground, and I don't know if that's from the weeds protecting the soil from the sun, or if the roots within them weeds are, you know, talking and communicating with the corn and releasing nutrients. I don't know what we got going on there. But another thing is, when we have weeds, we need to be looking at the weeds and asking, why do we have that weed? A weed is just a plant that is growing where it likes to grow. So it's happy there. It wants to grow there. So we are obviously short in something that is a perfect environment for that plant to grow in. So, you know, we could do certain things with our fertility or our biology to make it function better so we don't have certain weeds growing in our fields. So it's just a matter of figuring that out You're not going to learn it overnight. Just takes a lot of practice and knowledge, looking, trial and error. But we'll come into this part of the field here. It might be kind of hard to see, but we're getting towards the outside round. I say we're at least 12 or 15 rows in, and lots of weeds here. But it's the same story when you look at, oh boy, we got corn plants in between my legs. When you look at the corn plants, the ears are really nice, big size ears, even where we have the weeds at. I mean, we come over here, I mean, look at them. They're just beautiful ears. We can go right down the row, 100 rows deep. You might find a couple smaller ones. Here is a smaller one. It's got a lot of husk, but it's definitely a smaller ear. But for the most part, we've got a lot of really big ears on there. That one is bad pollination, and it started dropping kernels. I would say that one didn't pollinate nearly as well, or later. Well, judging by the plant, look at this. The top is missing off of it. So that probably had something to do with it too. So this is most likely probably from judging by how perfectly straight it is, that was chewed off by a deer. So I should have looked at that before I pulled back the ear. That's a perfect cut mark. The deer chewed that off. Same with this one. It's missing the top. Deer probably chewed that one off. Still putting on a decent ear though. So yeah, that's what we're seeing in our non-GMO corn. Yeah, regenerative verified, non-GMO. Regenerative verified, by the way, they come out and they pull soil tests and they go off of how healthy your soil is. So it's a program worth looking into. Like I said, this is not organic. Someday I would like to have some organic acres. We are working our way towards that. Trying to back off on our herbicides and get to the point where we could possibly get there. But yeah, no-till cover crop. It's been working pretty good this year. I can't complain. I like it. And I'm not going to say this is the proof, but once the combine rolls, then we'll know where we're at. So yeah, follow us, hit subscribe, hit like, comment, let me know what you think. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. If you've got pointers for me, let me know, because I'm all ears. Thanks for watching.